presentation is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
It's been another beautiful year of decking the halls, hearing bells jingle, and seeing lights twinkle across the 815. And to keep the seasonal spirit moving, we're going to take you around the state line to show you some light displays that are definitely grooving. It's time for Holiday Night Lights Season 4, and although we've had a lot of fun so far, we hope you enjoy this year's show just a little bit more. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of 13 News. I'm William Ingalls. Instead of our normal lineup of news and sports, tonight, as it should be, is all about the people who are all about the holidays. And from the places and people I met this year, there's not a better place to start than downtown Byron, where two friends work round the clock to make sure everyone has a chance to see Santa Claus himself.
When it first started, it was just, a few lights here or there, a few bushes, and then it just kind of each year I tried to add a little more, and until you eventually run out of room.
Gary Trees is right that his Merchant Street home in Byron doesn't have much room left for lights, but it's definitely packed top to bottom with Christmas spirit, so much that it even brought some nearby friends to help.
So I just started helping one year with Christmas lights because it's a lot to put up for one person, so I'd start helping him.
But Chris Logston brings a little bit more than a helping hand to these lights.
Oh, Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho.
He's the reason the most in-demand person during the holidays makes Merchant Street his #1 destination.
There used to be a gentleman that did it in town several years ago, like 20 years ago, on the west end of town. And he'd just sit on his porch in a sleigh and Santa outfit and wave at cars that go by.
What started as a simple idea is now a staple in Byron, with drivers on one of the city's busiest roads often doing a double take.
Some nights you'll just get the people that drive by and they drive back. You can tell that they're driving like around to confirm, like, is that a real Santa?
And then there are people who have made a tradition of stopping by Santa's Village on Merchant Street.
We get this lady that comes with her little dog every year, and she comes up and just wants a picture with her dog and Santa, and she's been here the last 3 years, and I suspect we'll probably see her again this season.
But at the end of the day, we all know Santa's priority is the little ones who want to meet the person who looks over their Christmas lists.
When you see the kids come running around that corner looking for Santa in the sleigh, and to see the excitement and the smiles on their faces, that's why I'm here. That's why he's here, doing the things we do.
Because after days of hard work to set up and extra hours of waving to everyone in the cold, there's only one thing Gary and Chris want in return, and thankfully, it's a price everyone can afford.
Our fee for coming and having your picture taken with a live Santa is smiles.
And it's definitely hard not to smile as Santa waves and wishes Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night. Well, unfortunately, Santa's time out at Merchant Street is done for the year, as you can imagine. He has a busy few hours ahead of him and, of course, a long vacation afterwards. But you can still swing by and see those beautiful lights out on the intersection of Merchant Street and Illinois Route 72. Well, Santa isn't the only special guest around the holiday season that made an appearance in Byron. Check this out. It's the iconic red Canadian Pacific holiday train making its way down the tracks to hundreds of excited people ready to celebrate the Christmas season. We know it's hard during the day to see all the lights on the train, but we, believe it or not, got some snow earlier on this Christmas season. And of course, you see some of the performance of Christmas carols, making sure everyone's trip to the holiday train was merry. And that's especially because the train is all about driving food pantry donations for the communities that it stops in.
I just say it's just overwhelming, the care and commitment and love this community has for everyone who, as I say, is going through any sort of hardship.
That once-a-year opportunity brought people from all around Illinois. We even talked to some people who made the trip out from Sandwich to check out all that fun there with the holiday train. But if there's one place to see Santa, and if you want to dodge any rain, snow, or cold, the place to go on the state line is Cherry Valley Mall. And as he has done for years, Santa made his grand appearance ahead of the holiday season. You can see giving hugs to families and friends, getting ready to snap a holiday photo too. It's a tradition for the mall to kick off the shopping season too. And while you know this show's all about the lights, at the mall, it's our local businesses that shine the brightest.
Always leaned on our local entrepreneurs to come here and start their businesses, and we try helping them with that. We have RBK Bakery that just opened. We have Honeycomb Salon. We have Little People's Closet that opened not too long ago. So yeah, it's exciting for them to get in here, and especially during this time of the year where they can really test what they have.
A lot of great businesses to visit any time of year, and certainly maybe some of that off time you have after the Christmas holiday. Well, just a few minutes away from the mall is one of the first houses I ever featured on this series, and we have a tradition of doing this on Holiday Night Lights. We like to take a look back at the families we visited previously, because a common theme I've found is that as the year goes on, the love for the holidays only grows, and the Benkas, they fit that description to a T.
This year's 24 years that we've been at Cherry Valley. Next year we are celebrating the 25th anniversary.
The Benka family has always had a love for Christmas and the holiday season, but until they came here to the state line, they didn't have the space to celebrate quite like this.
When we moved out here, we got a corner lot, which we didn't have back in Cicero and whatnot. You know, so we were able to put up a lot more decorations.
Needless to say, they make the most of the space, and for 20 years, Bob and Sherry Benka have invited their family and friends to celebrate the season and be merry.
We actually pull out a little box out here. It's naturally not connected. And I'm inside, and I have one of my in-laws down in the basement. There's two switches that turn all the lights on. So when he counts it down, he hits the switch, we turn the lights on.
1, 2, 3.
While there's some cheeky fun in how the Benkas flip the switch on their lights, they view it as a time to say thank you and spend time with the people they love. Because Bob and Sherry know this doesn't happen without their kids, grandkids, and neighbors. No, I think in the past you always called them your little elves,
Yes.
right?
Now there are big elves.
Oh, big elves.
But our grandkids are our little elves.
Yeah, we got 2 grandkids, and they help out quite a bit also. And I got to say, right now, if it wasn't for my kids, this would never happen. This is definitely a family thing.
Because it was those big elves who inspired Benka to add another thing to this display.
Rockford Register Star ran a contest, and we won it. They gave us $150, which was donated between 2 families for Rockford Meld. So from that point on, my daughters come up after. They say, why don't we put a box up every year, and we're going to have all these do that. So that's what's happened.
Which is why 20 years later, there is still a box collecting money for state line charities at the Benka household. Their lights are a full package that shine, twinkle, and soar in holiday spirit. One might even call it a shining example of what a family working together can do.
I just enjoy it. People go by here and say, "Oh, thanks, you did a great job," and I say, "Yeah, if it wasn't for the kids, it wouldn't happen."
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Definitely great to revisit the Benkas this year. You can see their house on Flying Cloud Court in Cherry Valley. Can't wait to see what they're cooking up for year 25. Well, still ahead on our Holiday Night Lights special. We're not stopping at a house next, but we are taking a trip to the biggest light show in the 815. Our exclusive look at the work that goes into making the Nicholas Conservatory and Gardens all aglow. Plus, we jump from Winnebago County to Ogle County to show off this Oregon home. What inspired this carnival ride of Christmas spirit when we come back. The Holiday Night Lights started with just houses, but if we're staying true to our mission here on celebrating the best and brightest lights around the 815, well, I just wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't talk about All Aglow at the Nicholas Conservatory and Gardens. Here's a look at those lights along with a peek at what goes into making all 400,000 of those lights shine.
I'm usually the first one to start, and I start in the end, right around the end of September, and we go all the way in through the lighting, which is the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Light after light, day after day, Doug Harkness and the team at Nicholas Conservatory and Gardens put up more than 400,000 lights. It's a grind that takes too many hours to count, but the staff knows the payoff is always worth it.
A lot of times we get kind of tired at the end of the day, but that first night, when it's on, we walk around, and then it's kind of like you get the chill.
Because when the sun goes down, the gardens go from this to this. In the last 9 years, All Aglow at the Nicholas Conservatory and Gardens exploded from a small display to something that if you stretched out light by light, it would go from Rockford to Rochelle and beyond. But throughout that entire stretch, the year Harkness remembers the most is the time this almost didn't happen.
You know, I think the biggest one was the COVID Christmas, because at one point they talked about maybe not doing it, and I think we all decided that's not an option. And the nice thing about that is we actually reimagined what we do for our going through the campus. We used to go on the East Garden, but it would get so congested, so we decided to go straight down along the lagoon into the Rose Garden. And that's kind of stuck, and that's probably my favorite year is when we started doing that. It opened it up so much more for different possibilities.
In just that short 9 years, Old Glow has become a staple to the point that Harkness seldom finds people who are seeing all of this for the very first time.
In the beginning, there's people, we haven't been on, but now it's almost everybody has said, yeah, we've been on, we'll be back again, and it's a neat feeling.
A State Line staple, all powered by a hardworking team with a love for the holidays.
I love Christmas. I love doing the lights. It's a lot of fun.
Well, the good news is, if you haven't checked out these lights, is that they stay on even into the new year from dusk till dawn. The last day to see them is on January 7th, so still plenty of time. But if you're driving by the conservatory, chances are you're going to see another awesome light show right across the street. That is the Festival of Lights, which has run for more than 30 years. Now, I've seen several years of these lights. I can tell you this year's run through Mississippi easily in the top 5 for me. There are lights everywhere you look, thanks to several State Line organizations and businesses, and of course, the hard-working people who help set this up every year. Believe it or not, it's only about 7 people who make sure this whole operation runs smoothly every year, and they do it all to help you get into the holiday spirit.
We do it for the love of our community, because we know we can hear it when they drive through, and that's our fuel. So we're very excited to bring this year's Festival Lights. It's our 34th year, next year 35th year, so we'll do some kind of cool stuff for that. But yeah, it's exciting to bring the family out, and we really hope that people can get out this year and experience it before we end on the 31st.
The Festival of Lights, it runs 24 hours for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Then from the 26th to the New Year, those lights are on from 5 until 11 at night. Any and all donations help keep the light show getting bigger and better for next year. Well, just a stone's throw away from the Festival of Lights in Nicholas Conservatory is Anderson Japanese Gardens. They're usually closed this time of year, well, until recently. Check out these views from the Sky 13 drone at Anderson Japanese Gardens for their 3rd season of Illuminated. There's, of course, lots of lights, but also Rockford Roasting Company and Wood-Fire Pizza in case you need a little help to stay warm. Even though it's only the 3rd year of the event, organizers at the garden say it's special to hear people are already making it a holiday tradition.
I'm really excited about how this is becoming a tradition in Rockford. We're talking to people who are making a whole circuit of going to our event and then up the street to the conservatory's event and then getting back in the car and driving through the Festival of Lights. And I love that we're going to be a part of those memories.
You still got a few days to catch those lights too. They're on from 5 until 8:30 at night between December 26th and the 30th. And we can't talk about the holidays in Rockford and not bring up the big kickoff party to the holiday season. That is Stroll on State. Of course, there's a big parade we here at 13 WRAX help MC, but this show is all about lights, and you can see Stroll on State has plenty of those too. This is Rockford's Christmas tree that you can see right next to the BMO Center, and it was definitely the star of the show once the sun went down for the evening. It's a lot of fun, but much like the holidays tend to do, it places a greater value on spending time with the people you love.
Family is everything, you know. It's not always about the holiday. It's about the love and time spent together. And I think times like this is more important.
There are even more lights after the city flipped the switch on this tree, ending the festive night with some fireworks. Well, last year I visited the Tran family on their quiet subdivision behind Silver Ridge Golf Course that you're seeing behind me. But as I was leaving their home, I saw another that for a whole year I had to wait to share with you. But finally, that wait is over as we check out the Pham family's lights, which are only outshined by their holiday spirit.
We just start with the lighting around the trim of the edge of the roof only. And as the year goes, we add some more. Thanks to my wife, actually, long innovation idea every year. She just add on, and her idea just growing. And she like, okay, I got an idea, so I put it to work and see how it works.
The Pham family are definitely people who, once they start something, only know how to push the limits more and more every year. But anyone who takes a drive by their Oregon home has to notice one thing in particular.
Well, everybody have a Christmas tree, right? Really nice. And see, like, let's go something different. How about a Ferris wheel? We can use it for Halloween and Christmas.
Thankfully, Mike has a few kids who help put up all these decorations for a few minutes at least.
Yes, for the first half an hour, the kid would love to go out and play, help out, and then after that they go roam around and play. And then after that, just me and my wife.
But the Pham's oldest son and even the Tran family, who we've also shown here on Holiday Night Lights, are there to lend a helping hand too, even if it takes more than a half hour.
I usually ask my friend come over with quick Tran to help me stand up the Ferris wheel. This year, my son grew older, so he gets stronger, so me and him standing up by ourselves, so it's pretty neat.
It's a display and family who brings smiles across their neighborhood, so much so people are okay with those lights coming a little bit closer than they already are.
Like my neighbor, she said if you need to extend over her house, let her know, feel free to do so. So they're very supportive and they appreciate a lot, and they thank us to decorate so the kid can enjoy it as well.
Which is a good thing, because this display isn't slowing down anytime soon.
Oh, we'll only get bigger, it don't get smaller. Until the kid probably go all of the last one to go to college, that's probably we probably stop. So I still have like a 10-year left.
Well, the Pham family lives in the neighborhood right behind the Silver Ridge Golf Course. So if you're stopping by, though, make a trip around that whole subdivision so you can see the Tran house, too. You got great lights at both of those spots. Well, still ahead, we're double dipping in Byron this year on Holiday Night Lights, but this house is a little bit off the beaten path. We highlight the piece that kicked off this whole display with tens of thousands of lights. And plus, we're going back to where this all started out in Roscoe. I got to tell you, you might want to bring a tissue for this one. That's coming up soon. We're making our second trip into Byron for this season of Holiday Night Lights, but we're definitely not in downtown Byron anymore. But if you ask the Moats, that extra space means more room for lights that they are excited to share with anyone who wants to make the trip out.
The more property we get, the more we have to add. So we started out with a post stamp in Chicago, and we first moved here to Rockford, had a little more room, and now we're here, and we've got a ton of room that we got to keep filling up.
The Moats still have a few patches of grass to cover in their new Byron home, but you have to hand it to them that they're pretty far along for their first full Christmas decorating here. The displays, they've grown with the space, but the love for the holidays, well, it's in this family's blood.
It started right with the kids, so our kids are all grown out. It's just the two of us here now. It started with them, 25, 30 years ago. We started decorating. Started out with one or two pieces and then added up from there, and now there's well over 150 blow molds.
But don't worry when it comes to helping hands, because when the kids are too old and cool to help decorate, there's some eager grandchildren to take their place.
So we've got teenage-age grandkids, and they love to come out and help us. So they're calling ahead of time right for Thanksgiving, wanting to know when are we going to get started on the decorating. So they were out here several weekends in a row helping out, and so my wife and I and the grandkids do most of the work. Yeah.
And while there's a lot of new to take in, there's one thing about the Moats display that has always stayed the same.
The Santa and the reindeer have been through it all. We're down a few reindeer. They fell off the back of the truck on the way to storage one year, got ran over in traffic. Replaced a couple. The antlers get blown off in the wind and been, repaired. So those have probably been with us the longest. Yeah. The sleigh and the very one reindeer was the first set we bought many years ago.
Ever. That was the first we bought.
If you haven't noticed yet, their love for the Christmas season is a little bit contagious, bringing cars from all over the state line to this rural slice of Ogle County, and some sweet treats from neighbors nearby.
They're neighbors, and they made us cookies, and they appreciate it too. They just thank us all the time for what we do.
A family and home that take what some people might call the middle of nowhere and make it feel like home for any who catch a glance, with no signs of slowing down.
Next year is going to be even more. Guaranteed.
The Moats live on the 12,000 block of Hoisington Road. If you were to draw a line between Byron and Seward, the Moats house, it's close to dead center. Maybe a bit of a drive for some of you, but definitely worth the trip. Well, still ahead, we're going back to the house and story that started this whole series. We're taking a visit to Roscoe with Mr. Christmas right after the break. The holidays are all about tradition, and from the very first house that started the series all the way back in 2020, I knew I would have to revisit it every year. So before we leave you tonight, we have to stop and say hi to Mr. Christmas.
It's a little difficult sometimes. You have to get all kinds of wiring.
Luis Roldan is getting set up for another season of lights at his Roscoe home. But Luis isn't a name he generally goes by this time of year.
My name is Mr. Christmas.
It's a name he's had for many years, ever since a little girl on his block asked him for a Christmas present.
He was asking for toys from Santa Claus. So I say, well, I am not Santa Claus. I'm Mr. Christmas. I heard Santa Claus.
And if you can't tell, the name and the spirit of Christmas have stuck, even when his favorite holiday is months away.
To me, Christmas is all year round because I work in these lights.
Yes, all of these lights at 80 years old, all by himself. His hands show his work. His heart shows his inspiration to do this every year.
It's my wife.
Debbie Roldan passed away about 2 months after that picture. She had one wish for her husband.
My wife is one of the reasons why I continue doing this. I promised her that I will keep Christmas for the children, and she loved children so much for so many, many years.
And when Luis is struggling to keep the Christmas tradition going, he says he looks up at his angel, who always has and always will be smiling back.
To the day I still feel that she's there. She will always be there.
And until the day Luis sees his wife again, he'll continue doing what he knows makes her smile most.
I continue the journey that I promised her, and I don't think that the only way I will quit is with God calling in.
A love that shines brighter than ever this holiday season.
Well, can't think of a better way to wrap up Season 4 of Holiday Night Lights. Thank you so much to everyone who welcomed me and all of you into their slice of holiday paradise. Gary Trees, Chris Logston, the Bankus, Fams, and Moats, you all represent what makes the holidays so special. And thank you for taking part of your holiday to be with us here at 13 WREX. From our news family to yours at home, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and the National Electrical Contractors Association would like to wish veterans, first responders, and the entire Northern Illinois community happy holidays.